At some point in their lives, everyone may face an overwhelming sense of despair as they witness their pleasure, health, and sense of identity degraded by the simple act of continuing in a particular setting. This is not a sign of weakness, rather, something needs to be altered. Maybe you're in a relationship where you're no longer valued, or maybe you're working but not getting anything out of it. Perhaps you feel imprisoned in a vicious cycle of guilt and duty and are unable to break free. In this in-depth look at 9 instances, we'll see why leaving isn't a choice, but rather a brave and self-respecting decision. We'll look at how Stoics may assist you make these difficult decisions so you can live a life in line with your principles and achieve profound personal growth. Stay with me to the end of the video, because I want you to have a better understanding of the necessity of letting go, the actions to take when presented with new chances, and why taking a stand can be the most courageous thing you can do. If you enjoy our work, please do me a favor and click the subscribe button. If you value these insights, you must watch every portion of the video. Number 1. The Stoic path to dignity and healthy relationships. Respect is crucial for a good connection in both personal and professional settings. When dignity begins to diminish, it pervades all interactions. Perhaps you believe that your thoughts do not matter in group settings, that your spouse continually interrupts you, or that your friends do not respect your personal space. Over time, these seemingly minor incidents add up to make you feel invisible and damage your self-esteem, as if one were standing on an unsteady foundation that could fall way at any moment. It is difficult to remember the Stoic advice that one's worth should not be defined by the opinions or actions of others, especially in an atmosphere where one is continuously treated with contempt. If you are not respected at work, you may lose drive and productivity. Nothing happens as a result of your efforts, and worse, someone else takes credit. This not only reflects poorly on your professional reputation, but it also conveys the idea that you are undervalued at that workplace. Personal connections are no different. It is toxic when people you care about do not treat you with the respect you deserve, whether they are a spouse, family member, or friend. As a result, you may begin to doubt your worth and put tremendous strain on your mental health. Leaving an abusive relationship is not a sign of loss. Rather, it provides an opportunity to reclaim your worth and dignity. The Stoics teach that we should focus our attention and energy on matters over which we have direct control. While you may not be able to control how others treat you, you do have the ability to leave hostile situations. It's a statement that you deserve better, as well as a measure of self-protection. Not only will you protect your emotional and mental health, but you will also be sending a clear message about how you expect to be treated in the future. You are sending a statement to yourself and the outer world that you will not tolerate disrespect. Making this decision requires considerable courage and introspection, but when you do that, you make place in your life for opportunities and connections that support your principles and offer you joy. If you spend any time in an atmosphere that does not respect you, you will be unable to find and create a life in which you are valued and appreciated. It is not enough to merely let go of negativity. We must also provide possibilities for constructive, caring interactions. Separation is an extremely effective technique for self-improvement and development. Respect must be maintained at all times. It forms the basis of all meaningful interactions. So, when it is lacking, remember the Stoic advice. Focus on what you can alter and be bold enough to go. Remaining in a location that pulls you down is not worth the sacrifice of your dignity and happiness. Number 2, the Stoic guide to navigating unappreciated efforts. When we put our best effort into something, we often worry if anyone noticed or appreciated it. Being taken advantage of is a truly unpleasant experience that may occur anywhere, at work, in friendships, and even inside the family. You go to tremendous lengths to help a friend, support your loved ones, and work extra hours. But your efforts are unappreciated. You may feel completely depleted after going through it. When your efforts and commitment are not recognized, you know something needs to happen. Going above and above the call of duty without receiving even a passing nod from superiors is one example of this at work. You begin to burn out when your contributions are no longer valued, but rather expected. Instead of seeking acceptance from others, the Stoic way urges us to focus on our own excellent actions and virtues. Unfortunately, consistently unappreciative workplaces can lead to long-term dissatisfaction and low self-esteem. Thus, it is critical to be aware of when this occurs. Being unappreciated in a personal relationship can be far more distressing. Imagine yourself as the person who frequently plans gatherings, offers emotional support, or makes sacrifices, only to have these acts of generosity overlooked. This imbalance may lead to feelings of emptiness and hostility over time. When your efforts are not recognized or valued, you may wonder why you continue to put up such effort. The purpose here is not constant praise, but rather appreciation and respect for one another. Leaving a situation where you are mistreated is a significant gesture of self-respect. The trick is to recognize your own worth and refuse to take anything less than what you deserve, rather than being self-centered. The Stoics teach us not to depend our self-worth on what others think of us. You can make way for opportunities and connections that truly value and acknowledge your contributions by leaving situations where your efforts are undervalued. This is not an easy decision. Worrying about what would happen if you resign and never meet new acquaintances or get a better career is a prevalent worry. However, remaining in an underappreciated workplace may be far more damaging. Feelings of satisfaction and self-worth steadily diminish. Even when faced with difficult options, the Stoics urged us to behave in line with our values and convictions. Prioritize your own happiness and development over the security of the familiar. Consider your efforts being directed toward those who genuinely respect you. This shift will elevate your mood and align your life with the virtues of appreciation and respect. Striking a balance is essential for developing a mutually productive connection. This harmony is essential for maintaining a healthy connection with oneself and a positive self-image. When you refuse to be treated poorly, you are sending a message about how much you respect yourself. It's a statement about your worth and a step towards living a life you enjoy. You should only work in environments where your contributions are valued. You should not allow others' approval decide your worth. The Stoics taught us that. Maintain a positive attitude and don't give up on folks who don't understand the worth in what you have to offer. Number 3, the Stoic path to emotional and physical well-being. The importance of your health cannot be emphasized. It serves as the foundation for the remainder of your life. When your emotional or physical health suffers, it is a sign that something needs to change. Anxiety, tension, and physical strain are prevalent, yet we often disregard them because we assume they are unavoidable. However, it is critical to address these challenges when they become persistent. Stoicism's precepts assist us in distinguishing between those over which we have influence and those over which we have no say, and they emphasize the importance of prioritizing self-care. Consider a job that requires too much of you without endangering your health. Working long hours in a hostile work environment can cause burnout, stress, and even serious health conditions such as high blood pressure or insomnia. There is a limit to how much stress your mind and body can withstand before giving up. Pay close attention to these red signals and take action as soon as possible to avoid further complications. Pushing oneself to one's physical and mental limits contradicts the Stoic concepts of moderation and balance. Intimate partnerships involve significantly larger stakes. Recognizing the harm caused is critical if your mental health is being harmed by continuous conflict, neglect, or emotional abuse. Staying in a toxic relationship can make you feel anxious, depressed, and trapped. The Stoics emphasize the importance of maintaining inner serenity and avoiding external distractions. Removing oneself from an abusive relationship is an act of bravery that will help you maintain your mental health and discover inner peace rather than a failure. Good physical health is just as important. Perhaps your physical health is suffering as a result of what you do or how you spend your life. Maybe it's a strenuous sport that your body can't take anymore, or maybe it's a bad habit that's eating away at you. Ignoring the physical demands of these activities can have long-term consequences. Taking care of one's physical body is a part of one's natural life that is essential to the Stoic principle of living in harmony with nature. We must be aware of our limitations and pay attention to our body's warnings. A smart and self-respecting individual would avoid situations that could affect their health. It is critical to understand that your own health should always come first. The Stoics believed that in order to live a balanced and healthy life, one must make wise decisions. Having this kind of understanding entails putting your health ahead of other worries and getting rid of things that are no longer beneficial to you. Imagine a world in which your emotional and physical health were your top priority. You can open the way to rehabilitation and development by removing oneself from dangerous settings. You allow yourself to recover and begin again. This objective can be achieved by finding a position that allows you to have a work-life balance, surrounding yourself with positive people, or changing your lifestyle to be healthier. Stoicism emphasizes the significance of maintaining one's mental and physical health in order to live a fulfilling life. Your health should not be jeopardized. It is the foundation on which your ability to live a fulfilling life depends. When you can recognize when something is causing you pain and gather the courage to leave, you are choosing to respect and protect yourself. The Stoics taught us that finding and maintaining inner harmony and tranquility is the wellspring of true power. Putting your health first, making the necessary changes, and avoiding things that do you harm is a prudent and successful type of self-care. Number 4, living true to your values. Your values impact what you do, what you decide, and where you want to go in life. They form your ideals and identity. When you are forced to forsake these principles, it can be extremely unpleasant and cause profound inner pain. Dissatisfaction and unease can arise when you act in ways that contradict your ideals, and this applies to many aspects of life, including encounters with co-workers and friends. The Stoics felt that the key to happiness was to align your outward actions with your internal ideas and virtues, and they recommended leading a life that reflected these principles. Consider a job that requires you to disregard your moral principles or act unethically. You can feel your integrity slipping away every time you lay your values aside to get the job done. Not only will you feel weird, but you will also start to question your own identity. Stoic philosophers such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius believed that being loyal to oneself and not letting your guard down was the key to living a happy and meaningful life. If your work ethic conflicts with these beliefs, you should consider leaving your employment. Compromising your ideals in personal relationships can have the same negative consequences. Maybe you're in a relationship that forces you to act in ways that contradict your ideals, or maybe you just surround yourself with people whose views and conduct differ from yours. This dispute may progressively erode your identity and produce continuous emotional discomfort. Who we spend time with has a significant impact on our personality and happiness. Thus, the Stoics advise us to choose our friends wisely. If your relationships are constantly jeopardizing your beliefs, it may be time to reassess them and consider ending them. Separating yourself from situations that cause you to question your values demonstrates strength, not weakness. Doing so indicates your commitment to living a true life and your readiness to prioritize your ideals over convenience or the views of others. In the face of adversity, the Stoics teach that we should act in accordance with our nature and hold strong to our principles. This helps us establish inner peace, which is crucial for our health. Imagine yourself entirely free and empowered when your actions are perfectly aligned with your ideals. Making decisions that reflect your ideals is the first step toward developing self-esteem and confidence. When you consistently do the right thing over the easy thing, you gain the trust and dependence of others around you. The Stoics believed that this level of honesty was the surest way to contentment and joy. Compromises, no matter how modest, can accumulate over time to weaken your convictions. The more you compromise your convictions, the easier it becomes to do so again, until you lose touch with who you truly are. You can make a powerful statement about your identity and values by remaining steadfast and avoiding situations that push you to compromise them. A chain reaction of goodwill can occur when one person's courageous and honest actions inspire others to do the same. Number 5, a Stoic guide to continuous growth and fulfillment. When we stop growing, we feel stuck and unsatisfied. It's as if you're in a rut, with each day feeling like a monotonous duplicate of the previous one. When you reach a brick wall and are unable to develop in your work, personal life, or interests, it can be extremely upsetting. According to the Stoics, life is a never-ending journey of wisdom and self-improvement. When you stop making progress, you realize something needs to change. Consider your work possibilities. You may have previously had a career that was both difficult and gratifying, with plenty of opportunities for professional growth. But at this point, it appears that all you're doing is coasting. Nothing exciting is happening, and there are no new challenges to face. Dissatisfaction and boredom can develop when there is no room for progress. The Stoics taught us to seek out possibilities for growth and improvement, as well as to strive for perfection in whatever we do. If your current job does not provide opportunities to rekindle your interest and excitement, it may be time to look for a new profession. Not growing may be a huge issue in your personal life as well. One example is the value of relationships, which should be dynamic and promote personal progress for both parties involved. If you realize that your relationships have plateaued to the point where exchanges appear routine and unmotivating, you may need to reevaluate. Your personal interests and hobbies are no exception. If something you used to like doing for fun has become dull and routine, it's time to find something new to learn and grow into. If you want to live your life to the fullest, the Stoics would advise you to constantly learn and grow by immersing yourself in different settings. It takes discernment and self-care to remove yourself from situations in which you are no longer learning or developing. Knowing your worth and never settling for less than you're capable of are essential components. The Stoics believed that our time on earth is limited and that we should make the most of it by developing our character and growing our knowledge. You can demonstrate your commitment to this principle by aggressively seeking out new experiences and opportunities. Imagine the delight and satisfaction that comes from constantly pushing oneself to learn and grow. When you step outside of your comfort zone and face a problem, you will discover new chances. Your resilience and adaptability grow, and you learn new things and perceive things from a different perspective. In addition to benefiting your career and personal life, continuous improvement improves your health and happiness. The Stoics believe that in order to obtain happiness, you should follow your nature, which includes your intrinsic drive to study and grow. Leaving behind what is familiar and comfortable is often an essential element of the growth process. Even if it's scary, it's necessary if you want to realize your full potential. The Stoics believe that tough events and challenges are important for growth. You can boost your resilience and fortitude by embracing change and aggressively seeking out new opportunities. Your enthusiasm to study and improve demonstrates your want to have a meaningful life. Number 6. The Stoic approach to overcoming guilt and finding true fulfillment. Choosing to remain in a position simply out of shame or responsibility may result in a life devoid of fulfillment and energy. People sometimes stay in relationships, jobs, or obligations because they feel awful about leaving or believe it is their role to do so. If you discover that your reasons for staying are mostly motivated by guilt or responsibility, reconsider your options. Rather than succumbing to false guilt or submitting to conventional standards, the Stoics advocate living in accordance with our underlying nature and doing what we actually want to accomplish. Allow your imagination to stray to a job where you're trapped because you're afraid of being reprimanded or you can't bear to disappoint your colleagues. Perhaps you've reached a point in your career when you're unhappy and dissatisfied with your job, but you feel bad about resigning. Perhaps you are frightened of failing your boss or adding to your team's workload if you leave. Nonetheless, if you continue to work in a job that no longer benefits you because you feel forced to, you may experience resentment and burnout. Stoicism's core doctrines include acting in accordance with one's deepest values and understanding that one is accountable for one's own decisions, not those of others. Feelings of obligation and shame may be heightened in intimate personal relationships. Feeling responsible for the other person's satisfaction or the amount of time spent together are two reasons why people stay in relationships, whether romantic or platonic. You may feel obligated to stay or concerned that your departure would bring them pain. Nonetheless, it is unjust to both of you to feel forced to stay in a relationship that does not provide you joy or health. The Stoics believed that true relationships are built on freely committed individuals who respect one another rather than guilt or obligation. Being truthful and acting with integrity is essential, whether dealing with others or with oneself. A genuine act of self-respect is to leave a situation where all you're doing is staying out of obligation or guilt. It's all about realizing the value of your time and energy and applying it to activities that actually make you happy. The Stoics highlighted the need of accepting responsibility for our own actions and decisions while letting go of outside influences such as other people's reactions. Living in accordance with Stoic principles means prioritizing one's own pleasure and making decisions based on one's own desires and goals. Consider yourself liberated and empowered by decisions that are in line with your true self. When you let go of feelings of blame and shame, you make room in your life for experiences and connections that actually resonate with you. This shift has the potential to bring happiness, contentment, and personal growth. Rather than being affected by worldly concerns, the Stoics believed that a good life is best lived by adhering to one's core beliefs and following one's heart. Recognize that it is difficult to leave a sticky situation when you feel guilty or forced to stay. Walking this path to a more real and meaningful life may include some awkwardness and difficult conversations at first, but it will be worth it in the end. The Stoics would advise you to be strong and intelligent while going through this, because being true to oneself is the route to happiness. You can cultivate a sense of tranquility and honesty within yourself by making decisions that are congruent with your own identity. Number 7. A Stoic approach to healing and moving forward. All meaningful relationships are built on the foundation of trust. Building trust is vital in all types of relationships, including friendships, romantic connections, and professional ones. It helps us feel safe and respected. Following a serious betrayal of trust many people feel as if their feet have been torn out from beneath them. This breach can emerge in a variety of ways, including lying, betrayal, or dishonesty, and it frequently results in considerable emotional pain. The Stoics, who emphasized the importance of honesty and integrity, believed that the decisions we make and the connections we form shape our character. The lack of trust signals that the relationship's foundation has shifted. Consider this scenario. You and your partner are in a committed relationship, and you discover that your best friend has been spreading falsehoods about you. These trust violations not only cause suffering, but they also fundamentally alter the dynamic of the partnership. Maintaining a similarly vulnerable and open level of engagement becomes extremely difficult, if not impossible. The Stoics advocated approaching these situations with wisdom and clarity. Consider Marcus Aurelius as an example. He underlined that, while we must confront reality and the actions of others, we must also take steps to protect our own tranquility and integrity. When a coworker steals your ideas or a manager makes fake promises, it constitutes a significant breach of trust in the workplace. Such behavior may have a negative impact on your self-esteem and create an uncomfortable work environment. Maintaining motivation and engagement becomes challenging when co-worker trust begins to erode. The Stoics taught us that we should always act with dignity and integrity, regardless of what others do. If trust is abused in a way that impairs your ability to conduct your job well and ethically, you should consider leaving. Leaving a relationship or position after a serious violation of trust is not about avoiding problems. It is about protecting your mental and emotional well-being. It's about learning that trust is exceedingly difficult to rebuild after it has been broken. The Stoics taught us that we should accept that we have no control over others and instead focus on ourselves, our own reactions and actions. When you choose to walk away, you prioritize your dignity and peace of mind. Consider what happens if you continue to work in an environment where trust is eroded over time. Prolonged concern and uncertainty can have a negative impact on your mental health. It can be intellectually and physically exhausting to constantly question the other person's actions and intentions. The Stoics believed that inner tranquility should be your top concern. Seneca, another well-known Stoic philosopher, believes that we should not jeopardize our mental health in order to maintain a relationship that is no longer helpful to us. Consider how much better off you would be after leaving a poisonous setting where trust has been damaged. When you step back, you create space for stronger connections built on trust and respect to emerge. The way you conduct yourself in social circumstances sends a strong statement about your worth to yourself and others. The Stoics believe that being around other good and genuine individuals is an important part of being a good and genuine person. Recognizing the difficulty of moving forward from a trust violation is critical. You may have to have difficult conversations and even let go of a relationship that was significant to you in the past. Remember, however, that nothing is more vital than your safety and honesty. In times like these, the Stoics counsel us to be courageous and smart, for the path to virtue is not always easy. Number 8. Rediscovering yourself. Few experiences are as perplexing and distressing as losing oneself. When you prioritize other people's goals and aspirations over your own, it's easy for it to sneak up on you. When you wake up in the morning, the reflection in the mirror may no longer be someone you recognize. Disconnection and emptiness can occur in a variety of contexts, including relationships, jobs, and social groupings. The Stoics emphasized the importance of self-awareness and acting in accordance with one's fundamental character. When you can't remember your own identity, it's a sign that you need to make some significant changes. Consider a relationship in which you were consistently urged to prioritize your partner's demands over your own. You may find that you've lost touch with your true self because you've shaped yourself to meet the expectations of others. A profound sense of loss and bewilderment can develop. The Stoics teach authenticity and the value of one's true self. We should remember Marcus Aurelius's advice and live according to our own ideas and nature rather than conforming to the expectations of others. Losing oneself in one's career occurs when one becomes so focused with meeting externally determined success criteria, such as climbing up the corporate ladder, that they forget the original reason for starting out. It is possible to find a career that appears ideal on paper but does not allow you to pursue your hobbies. The Stoics would advise you to assess your life's priorities and ensure that your job represents your values and interests. It is critical to look for roles and circumstances where you can express yourself authentically and make a difference in ways that are meaningful to you. Friendships and social networks can exacerbate the sensation of identity crisis. To fit in, you might easily adopt the habits and beliefs of those around you, even if they differ from your own. This may cause your identity to disintegrate. The Stoics felt that carefully selecting companions and developing ties that reflect who you truly are were two of the most important things. Seneca stated that in order to build and maintain authenticity, we should seek out friendships based on mutual respect and shared values. Walking away from areas where you have lost yourself requires courage and self-discovery. Living in sync with your genuine self and reclaiming your identity are important themes. Stoic philosophy holds that we have power over everything we do, every decision we make, and how we spend our life. The best way to promote personal development and discovery is to avoid settings that inhibit your true self. On this journey of self-discovery, you might find what actually matters to you, what makes you happy, and what drives you. Imagine how much better your life would be if you lived it honestly. When you embrace yourself without judgment and reject the need to fit in, you will feel free. You start manifesting opportunities and relationships that are a perfect match for your true self. Being real improves your health and the health of those around you. The Stoics believed that in order to have a happy and fulfilling life, you must act in accordance with your fundamental nature. You must understand that regaining your identity is not usually a simple process. It may require making difficult decisions and letting leave of comfortable surroundings or people. However, it is a vital step toward living a life driven by your passions and ideals. The Stoics would advise you to be bold and compassionate to yourself as you embark on this journey, for being at peace with one's inner self is the key to happiness. Number 9, knowing when to let go. It can be discouraging to reach a point where you've exhausted all feasible possibilities but don't see any improvement or progress. It's that point of exhaustion when nothing changes no matter how hard you try. This mood can present itself in a variety of contexts, including personal, professional, and interpersonal connections. The Stoics emphasize two major lessons: focus on what we can alter and accept what we cannot. It may be time to recognize that when your greatest efforts have been futile and nothing has changed, the outcome is not a reflection of your worth or work, but rather that you need to find something new to focus on. Consider a relationship in which both partners have exhausted all means of communication in an attempt to repair and make it work. Despite your best efforts, the relationship remains unsatisfactory or toxic, even if you've been patient, sensitive, and worked hard to resolve conflicts. This can have a significant psychological and emotional impact. The Stoics argue that we should only be responsible for our own actions and aims, not for the repercussions of those around us. If your efforts are not repaid or recognized, it is a clear indication that staying can be detrimental. You may have spent a significant amount of time and effort on a task or project during your career. You've worked additional hours, explored new ideas, and dedicated yourself to making things better. But there has been no progress, and the results do not meet your expectations. Fatigue and unhappiness may occur. Your efforts were admirable, but the situation may be beyond your control. The Stoic approach would be to look at it objectively. When it comes to protecting your well-being and professional performance, you must know when to pursue other possibilities, walk away, or pivot. Even with your greatest efforts and unshakable commitment, you may feel as if you've hit a roadblock in your personal objectives and goals. This might be anything you're enthusiastic about, from getting in shape to following your artistic goals. When you've done everything and still can't find a solution, it's easy to fall into a hole of self-pity and despair. The Stoics advise us to reflect on what we've learned, be grateful for what we've accomplished, and accept that not everything we try will be successful. The key to wisdom is understanding when to let go and focus your efforts where they will be most effective. It takes bravery and intelligence to walk away after you've tried everything and can't do anything else. The trick is to recognize your limitations and accept the outcomes you cannot change. Prioritizing what is necessary and rejecting what isn't was a fundamental concept of Stoicism. When you remove yourself from situations that no longer benefit you, you make place for opportunities and experiences that are better aligned with your values and goals. Consider the freedom and relaxation that would come from recognizing you've exhausted all potential possibilities. You can end the vicious cycle of disappointment and frustration by just letting go. The decision to let go and move on can lead to change, development, and new beginnings. Life is a learning experience, and one of the possibilities is recognizing when to leave a terrible circumstance. The Stoics taught numerous lessons, including this one: be gentle and understanding to yourself while you make this decision. Leaving does not imply that your efforts and what you have attempted are not useful or meaningful. Instead, it demonstrates your strength and commitment to living your life to the maximum potential. According to the Stoics, you should view this as a stepping stone toward more fulfilling and profitable undertakings. Recognizing when to leave a situation in life requires immense fortitude and decency. Your first objective should be to focus on your personal development, honesty, and peace of mind. Always remember that being true to yourself is the first step toward a more fulfilling, meaningful life. If you found this video educational and useful, please consider viewing another from the list of recommendations displayed on the screen. We appreciate you reading the Stoic Journal. Continue to be yourself and push yourself to the edge.